Previously on the last Pokemon Crystal Challenge run. I just know that big numbers mean better attack or better defense. And coming up, do you not know who Metagross is? Welcome along to another classic time challenge here on the channel. Today we are going to be running Metagross. Now Metagross is one of two pseudo-legendary Pokemon from Generation 3, the other being Salamence, and I'm very excited to see how this one will fare. You'd think being a pseudo-legendary Pokemon we'd have a very good time of it. But we'll have to see because, of course, we are going to be running with the standard rules, which means we'll have to have our learn set built throughout the course of this challenge. Now, as always, before we get into the challenge, we'll take a look at our stats, and we are level 5 with 23 HP, holding a berry with Takedown, Confusion, Metal Claw, and Scary Face, 19 in attack and defense, 16 in special attack, 15 in special defense, and 13 in speed. And so let's start the challenge. Now there are a few bits I need to talk about at the very beginning of this challenge. I'll try and keep it concise, but you know what I'm like, I do like a good waffle. The first thing is, apologies to those of you who were expecting to see the other Paradox Pokemon in these couple of videos. Unfortunately, there are some issues with those backports that I need to address before we take them on. They'll be streamed Pokemon at some point in the new year. I'm going to do a redo of all three as opposed to keeping the original time from our first challenge, because the learn sets were not curated by me. Those were backports that I've been sitting on for well over a year, and the learn sets were not curated by me, and looking at them I'm not happy with how they went. So we will be redoing those probably January, February, some point in the new year. And secondly, there has been a slight rule change to the time challenges. We are going to be running with the HM items in all of our crystal challenges from this point forward. That is just to save me having to remember two different types of button inputs for when I'm doing the movement in the overworld. I really struggled in the last challenge because I've been using HM items for so long now that I just could not get my head around going into the party menu again. I know it's a little bit of a shortcoming on my end, but it doesn't make too much of a difference throughout the course of the challenge. It's just different menuing as opposed to saving any time. It's just going to save me a heck of a lot of stress and a heck of a lot of hassle. And thirdly, if you are wondering where Supermon is, Supermon will be coming back in the next week or so. I just need a little bit of a break from it while I get used to time challenges again, with those being back in the schedule. And finally, because yes, I said there was a lot to talk about, didn't I? When it comes to the daily videos that I was hoping for here in December, that unfortunately has not been able to materialise. Circumstances out of my control, family members' health has declined quite significantly. So unfortunately I'm not able to dedicate as much time and as much mental energy to creating the challenges as I would like. Now that does mean there may be gaps in the schedule for the next 3, 4, maybe even longer weeks. I'm just going to take each day as it comes and see what happens. It's all out of my hands. I'm just going to try and do my best to manage everything as well as possible. So I'll try and keep the full schedule, but you never know, there might be a few times where there's a gap because I've not had the time, maybe I'm not at home or something. We shall have to see. Now when it comes to Metagross itself, it's going to be a fairly easy run, I reckon. We are a pseudo-legendary Pokemon. We've got Confusion, which is a fairly decent stab move to get us started. We've got Metal Claw as well, which can be useful in certain situations. And although we do have very good attack, I think I'm going to be playing this mostly as a special attacker, at least up until Red anyway. And a lot of the reason for that is we don't really have to worry about too many Pokemon with very good special defense in the first part of the challenge. We have a challenge in front of us where most Pokemon have very bad special defense, so even though we've only got, I say only 95, even though we've only got 95 in our special attack, it's probably going to do a heck of a lot more than our physical attack against the lion's share of Pokemon. We are running the punches as well. We get both Thunder Punch and Ice Punch, so that means our Hidden Power slot can be reserved for Hidden Power Fire, so that we can take on Jasmine fairly easily. And normally, there's a little bit of a cut transition, isn't there, between here and the first gym, but we're already in the first gym, so we might as well keep it going. We do actually have a situation on our hands where we could take a reset at Falkner. He's going to go for Mudslap, and we know that Mudslap can be particularly dangerous when you're running a Pokemon that is weak to it. We should have the defenses, but you never know, stranger things have happened. So what we will do is we will take a very quick heal. We're already holding on to a berry, and we'll take Falkner on. First gym leader of the challenge, Flying Type Specialist, leads with Pidgey. It's going to be a two-shot on the Pidgey, and there we go. There's the first Mudslap and the second. This is what I was worried about. I think we're going to take a reset very early. Maybe try Metal Claw. This might be one of the occasions where Metal Claw... That's takedown, Squidge. Well done. Let's try that again. Third time's the charm, isn't it? Let's try Metal Claw, see if that is a one-shot. Again, same situation. We're probably better off going for Confusion, just because we're not going to be running a 95 accurate move. We just have to hope that 3 Confusions hit. It is possible, not likely at this point, but we've got... There we go! Never give up. 5 minutes and 8 seconds, 5 minutes and 10 for the actual badge for Falkner. Hopefully that will be our hardest of all of the gym battles. And now we will go and have a little chat with Professor Elm's aide. We'll get the egg, we'll deposit it, and we'll start making our way towards Azalea Town next. And now that we are in Azalea, I want to talk about the plans for next year, because they have been fairly solidified now. I've got a very good idea of what I want to be getting on with in the new year. Initially, I was going to be doing both Fire Red and Emerald from the beginning of the year. However, I've just had an Emerald stream in the last couple of days, and I need more practice with Emerald before I get back to the pre-recorded video. So we're going to be doing a fair amount of Emerald streams in the new year. We're going to be doing 2 Fire Red videos a month until we start doing Emerald, alternating with Fire Red. We've got a bunch of classic Crystal challenges, including some redos for some much needed redo Pokemon. We've got some new Pokemon making their debut on the channel as well. And then we've also got Supermon and our new 4 moves challenge, which I am really loving. I love the classic challenges, but I'm even more in love at the moment with 4 moves and with Supermon. And I'm very, very happy actually with where the channel is going in the next 12 months or so. This year, I've got to be honest, it was one of those years where I needed to figure out what on earth I was going to do in the future. I tried quite a few things. A lot of things didn't quite stick, and a lot of things didn't quite work in the way I'd hoped they'd work. But now I feel like the ship has steadied once more, and we should be in for a fairly good 2026. 26 is actually one of my lucky numbers along with 27, so I'm feeling very, very positive about the next couple of years. I'm one of those people, I'm a little bit strange, I'm very superstitious, I'm very into going with the vibes and going with the energy, and I really think we've got some very good energy coming forward in the next couple of years. As always though, I am open to feedback and open to suggestions. Supermon was courtesy of Matthias's suggestion, and you've seen how well that's gone. So if you do have any ideas, please do let me know in the comments down below, and we shall see what we can do. And now it's time for our second gym leader. This is Bugsy. Bug-type Specialist leads with Metapod. It's 2-shot on the Metapod. Here comes the Scyther. Of course, Fury Cutter's going to be neutral. It's missed. He's confused and he's going back. This is a very, very strange battle so far. Let's now get rid of the Kakuna. A nice, simple finish to an otherwise very difficult battle to narrate. Hive Badge acquired in 9 minutes and 51 seconds. Now, we are going to use another potion. I don't think we're going to need to go into the Pokemon Center to heal. And instead we'll go straight in to rival number 2. This time he is going to lead with Garcy, and it will be a one-shot with Confusion. Garcy goes down. Up next is Quilava. He does have Ember now, but we have Crit. That is absolutely fine. We've got the Zubat left to go. It's a one-shot, and we have defeated rival 2 in 10 minutes and 20 seconds. And now as we're reuniting the Farfetch'd with its owner, I am going to show you the HM items in case you aren't watching any of the other types of challenges. They work in exactly the same way as the HM Friends did, it's just they are in the bag as opposed to being in the party menu, so it does take a little bit less time and effort for me to remember how to use them. We are going to be learning Headbutt on this challenge. We'll replace Takedown with Headbutt right about now because we do need to use another Repel. And that should see us in very good stead for the next couple of key battles. Let's get the pair of Ethers from here in the forest, and then we'll go straight outside and we'll beat up Gina's Pokemon before making our base in Goldenrod City for a little bit. Now this should be a fairly simple battle. I do like Gina though because the amount of experience points she gives. She is one of the best trainers to take on very, very early, and then I always get caught by Ian, so I've factored him into my routing now. He's done a switch, which is a little bit strange of him. Of course, he does have a Mankey that is weak to Confusion, and then we'll skip Specsavers for now. We'll think about what we're going to do in here. And now we've done our first sweep of Goldenrod City. I've gone and grabbed the Rentalabra. I've gone up north to talk to Floria, and that does mean we can go into our next gym together. I did pick up the Quick Claw as well, just in case for the Whitney battle, because I don't think we're going to be outspeeding her Miltank. However, I have held on to Scary Face as well. Scary Face could be an incredibly useful move against Whitney's Miltank. I think just one Scary Face will be enough to drop her speed. She's locked into rollout, but that does mean that now we'll have the chance to flinch just like that. The double flinch, locked into rollout again. Scary Face did exactly what we wanted it to do there, and that means we can get our next badge, the plain badge, in 15 minutes and 30 seconds exactly. I'm very happy with that little bit of strategy there. I did pick up Ice Punch as well, mostly for Schoolboy Allen's Tangler, although Ice Punch is a very nice move to have throughout most of Johto, especially with it being a renewable move. If we do need to get rid of it for whatever reason, it's not that difficult by the time we get to the post-game to be able to relearn it once more. And once again in this challenge we are doing fast Ecruteak. That means we've already been through Ecruteak City, but we have done none of it yet. We've ignored the Pokémon Center there and we've come straight to Olivine. That is so that we can make our base here in Olivine. We will heal in Olivine's Pokémon Center, and that will mean our teleport spot for the Rentalabra will be here as opposed to Ecruteak City, and that will come into play after we have defeated Morty, Rival 3 and the Kimono Girls, because we'll go all the way over to the Hidden Powerhouse, we'll take on the Red Gyarados, but then we'll be able to come all the way back here to save on a little bit of movement, and bloody Alfred, I think this is Alfred, hypnotizing our pseudo-legendary Pokemon. Do you not know who Metagross is? Goodness me, Alfred, I'll have to have a little word with Jasmine about that. Hopefully we can make her go easy on us for your absolute nonsense there. And now as we're making our way up further through the Lighthouse, I've taught Thunder Punch. There are a lot of Water-type Pokemon in this part of the challenge, so it made sense to teach Thunder Punch now. It's also going to help out for the Gyarados. And I think actually we're in a very good position now. We've got a very decent learn set, and that learn set is only going to get even better by the time we get to level 38, which we're already very close to in the grand scheme of things. So I'm feeling pretty good about the rest of this challenge now. We'll have to see whether that is a little bit of misplaced confidence or whether we are through the trickier time now with Metagross. I'm calling it a trickier time simply because we took 2 resets at the first gym. That's not a bad run at all. It's just not quite what you'd expect from a pseudo-legendary Pokemon, but then Falkner is the king of throwing spanners into the works, isn't he? And now we've cycled all the way back to Ecruteak City, where it is time to take on rival number 3. This time he is going to lead with his Haunter, so we've got to make sure we don't accidentally use Headbutt on turn number 1. Now, I was talking about the hard times being over. I have realised, you know, we don't really have anything too great for the Magnemite here, so we could end up in a little bit of dire straits. We are on 66 HP for the Magnemite. Let us headbutt it and see how much we can do. We're doing about half. Being confused is not great though, especially with Sonic Boom being able to take a whole chunk of damage off us. One confusion will get rid of the Zubat. We've connected on our final turn, surviving on 3 HP. Goodness me, we will have Hidden Power Fire for the next one. I think even if we did take a reset there at Rival 3, it would have been quicker to do the reset than to go all the way to the Lake of Rage to grab Hidden Power first. I think that was just one of those battles where we needed to sit it out and grit our teeth and grin and bear it and hope for the best, and the best did happen there. That does mean, though, that we are now well into our 4th gym together, and this one should hopefully be incredibly trivial. I'm not 100% confident on one-shotting the Gengar, so we will be going in holding on to a Mint Berry, but I don't think there'll be too much that Morty can do other than waste our time a little bit. So let's engage him in battle. We'll stand next to him, show him the respects that he wants, and we will take him on. He leads with Ghastly. We've got Confusion. We know what happens. It goes down in one shot. Haunter's the same, and here comes another Haunter. That's another one shot, and the final Pokemon is Gengar. We outspeed, we don't one-shot. Hypnosis has missed. That means we can save the Mint Berry for the Chuck battle. And we get our next badge in 23 minutes and 12 seconds. Now, there's one more thing we need to do here in Ecruteak City before we call it quits. We need to take on the Kimono Girls, and thank goodness we can use our Headbutt once more. We've had a couple of battles where Headbutt hasn't been particularly useful, but now we are going to take full advantage of our 135 in physical attack as we take all of them on. I do think, that accuracy lowering moves are our main Achilles heel in this particular challenge. We saw it all the way back at Falkner, and I'm sure we'll see it at people like Karen as well. Having our accuracy dropped is one of the very few ways that Metagross will eventually be going down, so we've got to hope that the HP up strat works at Karen, and just in general, the AI isn't smart enough to know to lower our accuracy. And now that we are through the Kimono Girls, we can make our way up to the Lake of Rage. There are a few trainers here that I like taking on for the levels. This Nidoking's a one-shot and gives us a fair amount of experience and stat experience. This Slowbro as well is a very good Pokemon for experience at this point in the challenge, because of course experience is fairly thin on the ground in the Johto games, so we've got to take the fully evolved Pokemon as and when we can. We can Thunder Punch this Gyarados, not quite a one-shot, but still very easily a two-shot. We get the red scale. We'll chat with Lance now, so that we don't have to come back to the Lake of Rage at all for the rest of the challenge. We do have just 1 or 2 more bits that we need to pick up before we are done with this northern part of Johto. The first, of course, is going to be the rare candy just near the Hidden Powerhouse. This is one of very few places, by the way, that I've stopped cycling for the most part, mostly because there are very many headbutt trees, and it's a long text box if you accidentally mess up your movement. These ones here, though, are aligned to the edge of a wall, so I can then get back on the bike. We'll teach Hidden Power a little bit later on, but for now, we're going to get all the way back to Olivine City, where we'll do another quick heal, and then we'll start our sail across the open seas. And of course, on the other side of the sea, it's Cyanwood City. We'll grab the secret potion from the dodgy shop, and we'll go straight into our next gym. I'm not expecting any issues whatsoever here in the fighting type gym. Of course, being the still type does mean that we aren't fully resistant towards the fighting type, but I don't think we'll have a very tricky time here. We in fact did not have a tricky time with the gym trainers. Let's take on Chuck. Now, he is our 5th gym leader together today, a fighting type specialist who leads with Primeape. Not confident about one-shotting the Primeape, so we will go for Headbutt. We're going to do a Headbutt on turn 1 against this Poliwrath, swap to Thunder Punch on turn 2, a very nice critical hit there, secures Chuck's fate, and we get the Storm Badge in 27 minutes and 55 seconds overall. That does mean that we chat with Chuck's wife, we get ourselves the air balloon, and now I've got a little bit of housekeeping to get on with, some bits to pick up, and then we'll take on our next leader. I've picked up a few rare candies. I've also picked up the ladder so that we can use Waterfall later on, and that does now mean we can make our way up the lighthouse once more to take on Jasmine. Jasmine should be a fairly simple battle. We are going to swap out Ice Punch at this juncture for Hidden Power Fire instead. We will be learning Ice Punch again later on. I must remember, actually, to pick up another Ice Punch TM a little bit later on, but we will use Hidden Power against Jasmine. We'll also pick up, or should I say equip, the Charcoal for this battle, just to make sure that the ranges are in our favour. We'll escape rope out now, and we will take her on. Jasmine is going to be our 6th gym leader together today. She is a Steel-type specialist, and she's going to lead with Magnemite. And this should hopefully be as simple as hitting the Hidden Power button 3 or 4 times to secure the victory. She got the perfect range there to not get Healing Looping, but guarantee the 2-shot, and that does mean that we have a very simple battle. Jasmine's badge, the Mineral Badge, in 30 minutes and 52 seconds. And with that, we've got to go back to Mahogany, where we have the bloody underground rocket section to do. I'm not going to make you sit through it. Let's skip ahead to Pryce. Well, that's the Mahogany Underground done for another challenge. It never gets any less tedious. Lance does give us a bath plug so that we can get through whirlpools a little bit later on, but let us now get the heck out of here, and we'll go straight into our next gym together. This is Pryce's Ice-type gym, but he's got an awful lot of Water types as well, and I used the wrong move there. I meant to use Thunder Punch instead of Hidden Power Fire. These Shelder and Cloyster have next to no special defense, so it's a very, very simple battle. And we'll go straight into Pryce now. He is our 7th gym leader together today, an Ice-type specialist, and he's going to lead with Seal. We'll use Thunder Punch against the Seal, we'll knock it out in 1. We'll use Thunder Punch on the Dugong as well. A critical hit guarantees the 1-shot as we grow up to level 36. And then we'll Hidden Power the Piloswine, and hopefully it will just be 2 further shots. Another critical hit there, saving a little bit of time. And that's the Glacier Badge in 35 minutes and 20 seconds in total. We're getting that dreaded call from Professor Elm now, though. We are going to ignore it for the time being. And we're going to start heading towards Blackthorn City next. That does mean a trip through the ice path, and I really actually quite enjoy this little part of the challenge. It's a nice mental breather before the nonsense that is to come. It's one of those parts of the challenge where I can just switch my brain off, go onto autopilot and start thinking about what I want to do for the rest of this challenge. It's a very, very nice palate cleanser. Now, even though we do not use the HMs, I'm still going to pick up the Waterfall HM every single run, so that we are keeping parity with the old challenges as well. And I'm getting good with that movement on the bike. At long last, I'm getting consistent with that strength boulder. It's been long enough. I should be getting good at it at this point, but I can now do it probably about 75 to 80% of the time on the bike. And now, after heading through the ice path to Blackthorn, getting a couple of items just past Blackthorn, and then flying back to Goldenrod City, we are halfway through the rockets, which means it's time for rival number 4. This time he's going to lead with Golbats. We'll just use a Psychic, guarantee the 1-shot as we grow up to level 39. We'll Psychic the Quilava as well, and thank goodness we've got something to consistently 1-shot it now. We'll use Hidden Power on the Magnemite, and then we will go onto the Haunter and use another Psychic, and that will just leave Sneasel left to go. It's a Hidden Power to finish off rival number 4. A very clean sweep there. And now there are even more rockets that we need to be getting on with. I'm not going to make you sit through these ones either, so we'll skip ahead to the very end. And that is Team Rocket dealt with for another challenge. It always feels good to get through Team Rocket, and that means we can go back to Blackthorn now and take on our next and final Jotonian gym. This is, of course, Claire's Dragon-type gym, and I'm trying to figure out how I want to play this. There are a few different things that we could do. I'm not going to make a final decision, though, until after we have taken on Cool Trainer Mike with his level 37 Dragonair, because facing him will let me know whether we need Ice Punch for Claire or whether we can save it until a little bit later on. So let's see, that was a one-shot there against Cool Trader Mike. Apologies for the title card being a little bit premature there. Hopefully that won't happen in the Claire battle itself. Let us now take on Cool Trainer Lola as well. We get through her, and that does mean we are at Claire. She is our next gym leader together today. She is, of course, a Dragon-type specialist, and she's going to lead with Dragonair. One shot on the first Dragonair as we grow up to level 44. Here comes the second one, and another one shot. We've got just one more left to go. Another critical hit there. Goodness me, this Metagross is fantastic at getting critical hits. And we are through Claire on our first attempt. That means we can now rush into the Dragon's Den to get our final Johtonian badge. They don't like making things simple for the final badge of the challenge here in the Johto section. And of course we have our favourite villain of the channel. It's bloody Darren here. Goodbye, Darren, and your Dragonair. We don't have time to taunt you today, but know that I am taunting you in my mind. We now have to get through this single whirlpool, and we'll enter into the Dragon's Den, where the guy here will question us going 1, 1, 2, 1 and 2. And that means that Claire will enter into the Dragon's Den. She's shocked, as she always is, that we can answer the questionnaire correctly, and we'll obtain the Rising Badge in 47 minutes and 40 seconds. Always happy with a sub-hour Claire. I think it was pretty much guaranteed with our Metagross. But that does now mean we can leave Johto and start thinking about the Pokémon League. And now as we're making our way towards the Pokémon League, I'm feeling fairly confident about what's ahead of us. I'm not foreseeing too many issues at all, although I am a little bit concerned actually that we didn't one-shot that Flareon. That could mean that fire types could be a bit of an Achilles heel. I'm trying to think about what I want to do for the learn set as well, because we are about to pick up Earthquake. I've held off on teaching Return because Earthquake is going to be a very, very good move for us, taking advantage of our stronger physical attack. And I'm trying to figure out whether I sack Hidden Power Fire or sack Headbutt in its place. I do know as well that I'm going to want Ice Punch at some point throughout the Pokémon League, and apologies as well if you can hear some construction work outside. I don't know what they're doing, but they're being very loud and being very, very disruptive. So I've just got to hope that it's not being picked up too much by the microphone. Always the danger of recording in the daytime, unfortunately. People do have to get work done, and it's quite often when I'm trying to record. Let's take on Rival 5 now. He starts with Sneasel, we'll use Hidden Power against it, and then we should probably have taught Earthquake for the Typhlosion here, but I got so distracted by the noise happening outside the window that I completely forgot. It should be absolutely fine for the rest of the battle though. We can Headbutt this Kadabra. It's got no physical defense, so of course it's going to go down. Psychic is just the trick on the Golbat, and then we've got the Haunter, we've got Psychic, we know what happens there. We get rid of it in just one shot, and that means we can enter into the Pokémon League. We'll heal up whether we need to or not. We'll grab some full restores from the man at the Pokemart, and then we will pause in front of the league to figure out our strats. So I've made my decision. We're getting rid of both Hidden Power and Earthquake for the Pokémon League. The reason for that is there's only one Pokemon I can think of where Hidden Power Fire would be beneficial, and that is the Fortress. Maybe the Jinx as well, but I think Earthquake will easily one-shot her. And both of those Pokemon don't really have anything too strong to hit us with, so I think we should be in fairly good stead for the Pokemon League. We are going to hold on to the Minceberry just in case we don't one-shot the Jinx though, because that will mean that we'll have a little bit of insurance with her possibly using Lovely Kiss. Now we are level 47 with 148 HP, holding the Minceberry with Psychic, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch and Earthquake. 164 in attack, 153 in defense, 129 in special attack, 124 in special defense, and 99 in speed. Do remember those are the outer battle stats. We will have a big buff in battle when we face Will, but before taking him on we will do a couple of predictions. I reckon Will be incredibly easy. We resist Psychic being Psychic and Steel ourselves, and I can't see him hitting us too hard with anything. Koga's going to be a walk in the park, same with Bruno. Karen, who knows? Every time I go into Karen not knowing what will happen, but touch wood, it'll be fairly easy, and then we should easily breeze our way through Lance. So let us now get our first league member underway. This is Will, a Psychic type specialist, leads with a Xatu. We're going to use Ice Punch because Ice does have the badge boost from Pryce's gym. It's probably going to be a 2-shot on this Executor. Psychic's going to do negligible damage though, and we will move on to the Slowbro. Thunder Punch is the order of the day, at least for turn 1, and then we'll finish it off with an Earthquake because it used Amnesia, and that will bring us on to the next Xatu. Once again, Ice Punch is probably our best move. Oh, we could have held on to the Bitterberry there instead, but we aren't going to take too much damage at all, and that was arranged the entire time. Here comes the Jinx. Is Earthquake a one-shot? Yes, it is. So if we do a redo, we know that we can go in with the Bitterberry or the Nevermelt Ice for Will. Let's move straight away onto Koga. I don't think we need to heal for this battle. We are fairly strong against most of his Pokemon, and we are over half of our HP. We start off with a one-shot against the Ariados. We'll use a combination of Earthquake and, of course, Psychic against the Fortress. We don't outspeed the Crobat, but we connect with our Psychic, and that's going to leave Venomoth and Muck left to go, neither of which is particularly strong against us, so we should have another clean sweep. That's Koga defeated. Let's move straight away on to Bruno. Again, not healing, don't think we need to. Let's take him on. He is a fighting type specialist, leads with Hitmontop. Hitmontop goes away, it gets deleted by Psychic. Hitmonchan is next, no guaranteed damage this time, we go straight for the kill. We're going to do the same against the Onix, we're going to do the same against the Machamp. Even with all of its bulk, it cannot withstand us, and then we say hello and goodbye to Hitmonlee, and we are through our third league member. That moves us on to Karen. Now, Karen is the big question mark of this challenge. I've got to remember to use all the items in the correct order. So we will start off with a full restore, then we'll plonk in all 5 of our rare candies. We'll use a HP up, and then we'll also equip the Bitterberry. Or do we equip the Perscure Berry? I'm going to equip the Perscure Berry. We can deal with a little bit of confusion, and let's take her on. This is Karen, she is a Dark-type specialist, leads with Umbreon. Hoping for a 2-shot against the Umbreon, unfortunately Sand Attack has hit, but that should hopefully be the worst of this battle. We connect against the Houndoom, that's brilliant. We'll use Ice Punch against the Murkrow, another fantastic result there. Vileplume comes out, we outspeed and we connect. That just leaves Gengar left to go. We've missed. We are out of Psychics. We'll use an Earthquake instead though, and we do defeat Karen. That was fairly trivial and fairly simple. Let's take on Lance, the liar with the flyers, doing no prep work at all here, and he leads with Gyarados. Thunder Punch is quad super effective against Gyarados, so we know we can one-shot it. Here comes Charizard. Now, we probably don't have anything to one-shot this. Flamethrower hits fairly hard, but we've got a lot of HP, so we can tank it. Meteor Mash, no thank you, I don't think we're going to be using that. Onto the Dragonite we go, we'll one-shot it with an Ice Punch, that was the level 50. That means that the level 47 will also go down in 1, and as will the other level 47. That just leaves Aerodactyl left to go, and it's not Scarodactyl in this particular instance. Rock Slide has missed, we connect with an Ice Punch, and we defeat Lance to get through the Pokémon League in 55 minutes and 8 seconds overall. That was one of our quickest league segments I think we have ever had. I played with confidence, and Metagross fully responded. That gives us our final Hall of Fame time for this challenge of 55 minutes and 24 seconds. Let's now take a look at the midpoint leaderboard. And that time of 55 minutes and 8 seconds puts us in 16th place on the Backport midpoint leaderboard. Not too bad at all, considering we had a fairly slow start at Falkner. And then if we look at every single time challenge run we've done in Crystal, we're in 35th place. I think that's fairly fair for our midpoint for the Metagross. This is, of course, only half of the story, though. We have another 8 gym leaders plus the red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And now we are rejoining the action as we always do here in Vermilion City, where we're going to go and grab the rare candy from the chairman of the Pokemon fan club. We'll put that in our Metagross a little bit later on. It's a very handy rare candy to have though. and we will now move in to our first gym together here in Kanto. We're hopefully going to be doing our standard Kantonian order. I see no reason to deviate from the standard order in this particular challenge. So we're going to start here with Lieutenant Surge, then it'll be over to Erica, down to Janine, then to Sabrina, up to Misty, across to Brock, down to Blaine, and we'll finish off with Blue. We'll get started here at Lieutenant Surge, though. It's a one-shot on his Raichu. We do outspeed the Electrode there, so it's going to be another one-shot. We'll swap to Earthquake for the Magneton, make sure that we can get rid of that quick, sharp, and in a hurry, and then we'll carry on with Psychic against his final two Pokemon. In fact, let's use an Earthquake against Electabuzz. It's fairly bulky in the old special department. That gives us a Thunder Badge in 57 minutes and 26 seconds, and we're going to risk these two Repel steps now without a Repel to get ourselves into Saffron. I always dip into the Saffron Pokemon Center, by the way, because it makes menuing slightly easier when we come back from Janine. It means we can teleport instead of flying, so it saves a little bit of menuing. And with that, we can make our way into our second Kantonian gym together. Now, while we are taking on the Kanto section, I do want to have a little chat about a few things, all positive actually for once. And the first is I had a comment the other day from somebody asking, why do I do the different types of challenges in Pokemon Crystal? And quite honestly, they scratch different parts of that challenge running itch. For instance, the classic time challenges are all about getting through in as fast a time as possible. So that really does challenge me to try and think about the most efficient way that I can defeat Pokemon Crystal with each individual Pokemon. But then when we come to Supermon, it's all about consistency. It's all about how do we play in the safest possible way. So Supermon scratches that particular itch of, well, we could try this and hopefully it will work fairly well. And then 4 moves is a really nice in the middle spot between Supermon and our classic time challenges. It's getting the chance to show off every single Pokemon's full potential that I really like with 4 moves. 59 minutes and 5 seconds, by the way, for the Erica split there. A very, very good time. We are going to use an Elixir and probably that PP up as well on Psychic in preparation for Janine. And I very rarely show the standard Kantonian overworld movement in the videos, so I might as well keep it going at least for now. We do have a fairly intimidating section coming up though in a rock tunnel, and I do have a little guide that I follow every single time to get through rock tunnel fairly easily, but I will do that part off camera. We are now against Janine though. She is a poison type specialist and she's going to be very, very easy. Janine is my favourite of the Kantonian gym leaders because she tries her best. She knows she's not great yet. She says it in her speech that she's learning from her father, but she puts her all into it. And with the amount of not very good Pokemon we have run together here on the channel, taking that attitude with me that is in Janine's text really has helped out. 1 hour and 8 seconds for the Janine split. Let us now get out of here and we will make our way back to Saffron City. You can see using the Rentalabra there, we can get past very, very easily. We're now going to go through the rock tunnel and we'll meet up just on the other side. There we go, we are through rock tunnel now. We do dip into the Pokemon Center here. That is to make sure that we can teleport back and we don't have to worry about going through rock tunnel or the route when we come back to return the machine parts. But the manager of the power plant is going to be having to wait quite a while actually before we return the machine part, because we're going to go back to Saffron City now, where we are going to go into our next gym. This is Sabrina's gym. She is, of course, a psychic type specialist, much like us. And we're going to be relying on the brute force of Earthquake in this particular battle. We outspeed the Espeon, we one-shot with Earthquake. That's a very good start. Here comes Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime goes away straight away as well. And that means we can get rid of Alakazam. Another Kantonian badge in 1 hour, 1 minute and 45 seconds for the Marsh badge. I always get the Marsh and Soul badge mixed up. It feels like they should be the other way around. Now that we're in Cerulean City, we absolutely must not go into the Pokémon Center. It's very important that you do not go into the Pokémon Center here because you want to keep hold of that teleport spot for the power plant. And we have a Nugget Bridge to contend with now. And on this Nugget Bridge, I want to talk to you about how I'm feeling in general, quite honestly. Even with all the stresses going on in the background that are taking up a lot of my time at the moment, the ones I mentioned at the very beginning of this challenge, I'm actually feeling pretty good and pretty positive. I know that I've had my ups and downs this year, but at the moment, I am in very good mental health, comparatively speaking. You can probably tell, actually, in the tone of my voice, I'm a little bit bouncier, a little bit more energetic than I have been throughout parts of this year. And this year has been a very big roller coaster, hasn't it? I think I spoke about that in a recent challenge, how 2025 has been a year of ups and downs. But I've got a very good feeling about 2026. I am at the point now where I am very much just doing challenge running for the fun of it again. Not really worried too much about the YouTube metrics. I've found the place I want to be with the content, the place I want to be doing the challenges. I've found challenges that are keeping me inspired, keeping me invigorated, and I am very, very much looking forward to having one of the best years I think we'll ever have on the channel next year. And I am delighted that hopefully, I say I'm presuming here, but I'm delighted to think anyway, that most if not all of you will be along for the ride. Now, one thing that I think will be happening slightly less in 2026, I beg your pardon, goodness me, missing a year there, is the live streams. I'm probably going to drop down to an average of about 2 a week, and that's because I want to try and play some more games over on Twitch. I've got an itch to play games in a more creative and a more relaxed format than we do here on the challenges, because they are very, very high pressure, these challenges. So having maybe 1 or 2 Twitch slots a week could be good for the old mental health there. It'll be a good palate cleanser where I'm still able to be with a lot of you lovely people, but at the same time not doing the same challenges that we do here on YouTube. So if you do want to follow me on Twitch, the address is twitch.tv/trainersquidgy. Unfortunately, Squidgy was taken by the time that I created my Twitch channel. It's very annoying having inconsistent names, but I like having just the good old Squidgy here over on the YouTube side of things. Now, we have now defeated Misty at a time of 104.19. We've returned the machine parts, and we can head to Lavender. The beauty of doing backwards rock tunnel is that we get the Lavender fly spot without having to worry about going to Lavender on its own, separately for the challenge purposes. We go to Vermilion next. We use the Pokeflute in front of the red Snorlax. This isn't a red Snorlax at all. I'm thinking of the Gyarados, aren't I? The other static encounter. And then we can cycle through all on 1 max repel. Now, unfortunately, we cannot take on 3Drill today. He will waste our time, but we will go straight into our next gym together. And once again, we're going to have a very, very easy ride of it here. Brock is a rock-type specialist. We've got super effective moves, but we've also got a very strong psychic. I don't think there's going to be anything Brock can do to withstand any of our psychics whatsoever. So he deletes the Graveler, we delete the Rhyhorn, we delete the Omastar. Here comes the Kabutops, and there goes the Kabutops. And then he will finish with his Onix. A clean sweep of Brock gets us through, and with the Boulder Badge in a 106.03. Let us now cycle away, once again avoiding 3Drill. I said avoiding 3Drill, goodness me. My movement there was not good, and now we can head towards the Seafoam Islands. That's going to be where our next gym leader lives. A nice bit of optimization here is using the air balloon there, and if you don't mess up your movement, it's actually a lot more efficient than what I did just there. We don't need to heal any PP, so there's no need to go in to the Pokemon Center, and instead we'll have a little chat with Blue, make sure that he can get all the way back to his gym, and then we will go and grab our final rare candy in Kanto, and we will cycle our way and surf our way to the Seafoam Islands, where Blaine lives. Blaine is our penultimate gym leader of the challenge. He is a fire-type specialist, so he does have the type advantage, and he leads with Magcargo. We'll use an Earthquake against the Magcargo, guarantee the one-shot with a quad super effective move. We'll swap to Psychic for the Bumphead Fire Duck, and then we will also Psychic the Rapidash. That was a very clean Blaine fight there, in a time of 107.16, and now we will use our Max Elixir. We will hold on to the leftovers, and we will make our way back to Viridian City, where we have one last gym leader to contend with. This is, of course, Blue. He lives here in Viridian Gym, having taken over from Giovanni, and he is our final gym leader of the challenge. Mixed type specialist who's going to lead with Pidgeot. Now, I don't think Thunder Punch nor Ice Punch is going to be a one-shot, but Whirlwind has failed. Ooh, he got the read on us there. Let us use Ice Punch to one-shot this Rhydon though, and he's sending out Executor next. We're going to use an Ice Punch. We have been Leech Seeded. What is Blue doing here? He is swapping all over the place. We'll Earthquake this Arcanine to get rid of it in one shot. We'll go back to the Executor now. The Executor is half dead, but he's using a full restore. This battle is very confusing for my brain. There's a critical hit as well. Ice Punch the Pidgeot. I don't know how many's left to go at this point. Earthquake on the Alakazam. It's a shame we don't outspeed. We grow to level 62. Here comes the Gyarados. I think this is the last, maybe, question mark. I've lost track. It is. We've defeated Blue in one of our weirdest gym battles ever. 108-37 for the badge. Goodness me, that was the longest single clip I think we've ever had on the channel. It was an 8-minute clip in total for part of this Kanto section. I don't think we've ever had a single recording clip quite as long without a transition. And I didn't mess up my words too much there, so I'm taking that as a big win. We'll stick on a Max Repel now, and we will start making our way towards Silver Cave, where we have just one battle left to go. We got defeated by that ledge. This is the most difficult ledge in the game. Always have to take it slowly. We get through, and now we should have a smooth ride up to Red. Once again, because we are running without Flash, I will go off camera to get through Silver Cave itself, just because it is a fairly tricky amount of movement. Before we do though, we have one more rare candy left to go, and then we should be able to just get back to Silver Cave this way in Johto, because I can't remember if I dipped into the Pokemon Center. We'll stick on a Max Repel, and now that we are through that room, we will prepare for Red. I don't think we're going to outspeed most of his party, so I am going to risk it by sticking on the Quick Claw. There are a couple of other bits we need to do beforehand though. Where is that Quick Claw? It's got lost in the mess of the bag. We use our final Max Elixir, and then we can just use a Super Potion. And we'll dig in for the Red fight now. He is a mixed type specialist, of course, and he leads with Pikachu. Charm has failed, that's brilliant. And we get rid of Pikachu. Espeon is next. Interesting. What should we do here? Probably Earthquake again, hopefully get a two-shot. He's gone for Psychic. That's really positive. That brings us on to Charizard now. Thunder Punch, maybe a two-shot. Ooh, that's a very great amount of damage there, isn't it? That is not too good. Let's try again. Earthquake on the Pikachu, one shot. Espeon's next. Reflect, not the best thing to happen to us, quite honestly. We might end up needing the leftovers after all of this, you know. We will have to see. We are running at level 65, so we are fairly underleveled for this battle. Let's have a little think. The time has paused because I am not currently touching the controller. I'm trying to figure out what the best solution could be. The solution's been staring us in the face the entire time. We needed to get an extra level to get agility. That means that we'll be able to boost our speed, of course, and that means that the Charizard hopefully won't be quite as much of a threat. So I did do some grinding against the Wilds. I think that was probably a little bit easier and a little bit quicker than going out of the cave to come back into it. So we're going to hold on to the leftovers now as well, and we will see how we get on this time. let us engage Red in battle. We're still not going to have an easy time of it, but I think we'll have a slightly easier time of it than we did. Getting paralysed by Thunder there is not part of the plan. We get the Charm Dodge, that's a very good start. Now, here comes the Espeon. We'll use an Agility, and I think part of the play here is going to be to try and stall out the Espeon as much as we can. We don't particularly fancy having to deal with the Pokemon with Reflect up, so we know we are going to be outspeeding everything. Reflect has faded, we can get through the Espeon now, and we are on to the Charizard. We'll use the Thunder Punch, hopefully we'll paralyse it. Flamethrower hits, goodness me, it does a lot of damage. I think we're on to something here though. I think as long as we can dodge Charm, we are in with a fairly good shout of getting through the battle. Maybe we'll have to swap to Zap Cannon, I'm not sure. Maybe we could use something else. But I think we are on track to getting a half-decent solution at the very least. I tell you what, this one has been really tricky so far. I've tried a bunch of different learn sets and nothing seems to be working quite as hoped. I did realise we can set up the agility against the Pikachu there. And if we get the Charm Dodge, then we're absolutely fine. A nasty critical hit there, though, from the Espeon. Trying the Zap Cannon strategy, it will give us a good chance of the Charizard being paralysed. Didn't happen that time, but I reckon Agility Zap Cannon might be the play to get through. We are still having to do the Charm Dodge, though. There's nothing we can do about that because he's likely to lead with Charm on most of our attempts. We can then get through the Pikachu, hope that we can get through the Espeon fairly easily as well. Earthquake should be a two-shot, even with a Reflect. And let us try a Zap Cannon once more against this Zard. We've missed. We take a reset. We don't learn the tutor moves, which is very frustrating in this particular battle, because I think that would have been part of the key to getting through, you know. Having the tutor moves would definitely have helped out in this battle. We'll use Earthquake once again against the Espeon. Hope he goes for Reflect. The more HP we can save for the end of this battle, the better. Zap Cannon's connected. Please get paralysed. Nope. And we take a reset. It's just going to be about getting this last bit of luck we need for the final battle. It's reminding me a lot of Ursaring, actually. We could potentially go for double team, but that feels a little bit scummy. I don't want to resort to double team. I think Agility into Earthquake, in to double Earthquake on the Espeon, and then hopefully a Zap Cannon Paralysis will be the play overall. We can get through the Espeon on full health here. Now please connect Zap Cannon. Nope. Once again, we are out of luck. Now the reason I'm going for Zap Cannon is because it has the 100% chance to paralyze, and it does significantly more damage. So I think it is the best move we have in our arsenal. It's not a great move, it's just the best move we have. And that's what we're having to contend with here in this particular red battle. We should hopefully get through fairly soon, though. We've got our Zap Cannon connecting. Please be fully paralysed, just like that. We get through the Charizard, and we move on to the Snorlax. Earthquake and hope we don't get fully paralysed, really, I think is going to be the order of the day here. Body Slam has hit. We've been friggin' paralysed. That's not what we're after. I don't think his final two Pokemon have too much to harm us, though. Sunny Day Solar Beam isn't going to be the best thing in the world, but as long as we're not fully paralysed, we should be A-okay. I'm going to risk a Zap Cannon here against this Blastoise. Hopefully one of them will connect. Eventually, maybe. This isn't looking great, but now at least we're speed tied. Let us go for another Zap Cannon. We have hit with a crit, and we get through in 1 hour, 22 minutes, and 11 seconds. That is the time where Pokemon Trainer Red was defeated, came up on the screen. Goodness me, what a nice old run until that red fight. Goodness me, what a nice old run until that red fight, and then it all came falling apart. Let's now take a look at the leaderboard, though, for our Metagross. And that time of 1:22.11 puts us in 24th place on our backport leaderboard. The lack of speed there really did do us dirty in the end. But that is the time that Metagross got on the day. I'm sure it's capable of better with a little bit of better planning. In terms of our overall leaderboard, we are in 65th place overall. In between Entei and Porygon 2, no shame in being in between those two Pokemon. And now, as the rest of the leaderboard does play out in the background, I will start off by saying thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always, to bring you this challenge. If you have enjoyed it, by the way, please do click the like button. It really does help out. If you've got any feedback about this challenge, I know it was a hot mess at the end, leave it in the comments down below. If you want to see more challenges just like this, click the subscribe button. But until next time, when we're going to be running Salamence through the Generation 2 Gauntlet, I will say thank you all so much for watching once again, and I will catch you all very, very soon.